Good morning, I'm Frank Powers, and this is Lifestyle Tucson, the program where I speak to our neighbors, the people behind the scenes of our amazing organizations, small businesses, and nonprofits. Our friends are informing you how they serve our community, and they are here to give you updates on future projects. Let's make some new friends today. Let's go on tour today, and I'll be your guide. Hop on your bike and let's take a ride. It's the 40th annual Banner University Medicine and Banner University Family Care Tour de Tucson, Saturday morning, November 18th. 40 years, what a big deal. With over 7,500 cyclists, there's something for everyone from 102 miles or just 1 mile. There's a lot to do, so let's talk about the big race and all the styles of cycling people can enjoy at Tour de Tucson, because today, I'm fortunate enough to be riding a tandem bike with Bobby Verenna, member of the board of directors of Tour de Tucson. Bobby, welcome to Lifestyle Tucson.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm really excited, so I can, tell a little bit of what the tour is all about. It's been around. We all know it. We've been living here for a while. We all know about Tour de Tucson. It stops traffic in town. It's a great event. Tell us a little bit give us the 101 of what Tour de Tucson actually is.
Tour de Tucson was started, like you said, 40 years ago here in Tucson. It's run every year since, and it is the largest perimeter bike ride in the United States. And last year was voted the #1 cycling event in the U.S.
That's huge.
It is massive. And speaking of massive, this year is looking at 9,000 plus riders.
Wow.
The largest in our history.
That's amazing. Well, you're going to break that 10,000, I'm sure, by next year.
We're on our way.
Yeah, that's growing and growing nonstop. So let's talk about your life and experience with Tour de Tucson. How long have you been involved?
I've ridden Tour somewhere 15, 16, 17 times over the years. Even while I lived in Colorado, I'd come back every single year to ride Tour and bring some guys with me.
Heck yeah.
We tried to win it a bunch. We never quite got there. But when I moved back to Tucson 8 years ago, I knew this was an event that I needed to be involved in.
Heck yeah. What's the highest you placed? In top 10?
I've been in the top 10, yes.
There you go. Top 5?
Not in the top 5.
All right. That's all right. That's all right. Because, again, the effort's there. And how much do you just love cycling? How much is it a part of your life? Because when it comes to bicycles and that, it can be just a lifestyle for people, just like CrossFit or weight training. Some people really love cycling.
Cycling has been a huge part of my life. It's defined who I am. For years, I was in the cycling industry for a long time. Everything from a designer of bicycles to a sales rep for a bicycle company. I used to own a couple of bike shops up in Colorado. I'm in real estate now. My website is bikeracingrealtor.com.
Cool.
So cycling has been a part of my life since I was in 8th grade.
And Tucson's a great place for it. I used to live right off of Mountain Avenue. I remember the year it got voted like one of the best bike roads in the country. And we have a lot of these bike highways. I talked to also the Department of Transportation talking about our great bike highways, how much they've done that around the city because they really care about cycling here in Tucson.
Tucson is routinely voted the #1 or #2 cycling city in the United States.
Wow.
The Chuck Huckleberry Loop has been recognized as one of the best bike paths in the world. Absolutely. Tucson is a cycling mecca, and Tour de Tucson is the cherry on top of that. It's internationally known as one of the best cycling events in the world.
I love a destination event, and Tucson's a great place to come for that sort of thing, especially because the weather's just turned. It's a nice time to ride. You're going to feel good. So let's talk about the styles of rides that people can take, because everyone can come to Tour de Tucson. It's not just for real professional cyclists. You don't got to wear spandex. Don't worry, okay? I mean, I like it. It feels good. But don't worry, all right? I'm going to tell you some of these races, and then we'll go through them. Let's talk about the Century. That starts at 7 a.m., and it's 102 miles.
That's the granddaddy of them all. That's the premier event. That's the one that the big dogs come out for, as well as the recreational cyclist. It can be a bucket list item for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
It's a challenging ride, but it's not so challenging that it's exclusive. Yep, you got to go up over Pistol Hill. Yes, you got to come back up over and through Green Valley, but those are gentle climbs, and it makes it a challenge. But it's that's the one. That's the premier event, and it's fast and it's fun. Or it's get out there with friends and family and check something off your bucket list. I have just as much or more respect for the person that finishes that ride in 12 hours as I do for the guy that wins it in 4 hours.
Yeah, challenge is a challenge.
I mean, who wants to sit on a bike seat for 12 hours?
Oh, my God. I couldn't even do that sitting still.
Right, exactly.
That's incredible. But all right, if you don't know how to ride a bike, don't want to sit on a seat that long, how about a 5K run or a walk? That starts at 7:30. It's 3.1 miles, and it is a certified 5K run. Tell us about that.
You know, that's brand new for us this year. This is going to be our first time.
Okay.
We partnered with Run Tucson on that, and the idea was not everybody wants to ride a bike. There's a great running community here in Tucson. We've already got all the infrastructure put together for all the bike rides. Let's add a run event to it. As of right now, we have about 750 participants signed up for that. That should get close to 1,000 by the time the day comes, and we're really excited about adding something new.
Yeah, I always talk about this. Tucson's a walk uptown or a ride uptown. In this case, I guarantee a bunch of people show up on the day. It's just going to be nice, and plenty of people are just going to finally hear some of these news bits, some of these things. You guys and your social media will get to some of that. Really getting everybody hyped up the weekend of this event, where it is the thing to do. You don't want to miss it, and it's the place to be. And a lot of families can join it because there's the fun rides. And the fun rides start at 8 a.m. And these fun rides are great because they're brought to you by the children's clinics. I'm going to be talking to them in a little bit on Lifestyle Tucson. I might even merge them all together into one episode. We'll see. But the fun ride is for fun families, and it's 3 miles or it's 1 mile. It depends on what you're doing. Tell us about some of these fun rides.
You know, they're fantastic, and it's a way to get your kids involved. My kids have come down, done the fun ride. They actually made me do it with them after I finished the 102-mile event.
Oh!
So I had to add a couple extra miles on with my daughter. And they're a blast. It's in and around downtown. You're going to get moms and dads and grandparents and kids and people that are just starting to get on a bike. Come on out and do one of the fun rides, and they are exactly that. They're fun. There is no start and finish line. There is no official time. Come out, ride your bike, enjoy everything that is El Tour and downtown Tucson.
Heck yeah. Children's Clinics even have a bike decorating event a couple of days before on the 16th. I'll give you some of that information in the recap, or we'll get to it later in this episode if our guests join us. I'll see how I put it together. The Metric Century, that's a 9 a.m. start time. So now we're back to biking really kind of big, 62 miles. It's about half the distance, right?
Yeah, a little more than half. And it is just as competitive for a large group of guys. Some guys just don't want to go out and race 100 miles.
Yeah.
They want to go out and race 62. I've ridden that event on a couple of occasions when it was 75 miles. There's a group of guys that go out and race that just as hard, just as fast.
Yeah.
And it's also a way to work your way up. If you're just getting into cycling, you're new to bike riding, and 100 miles is daunting, do the Metric Century and work on that for a year or two, and then maybe work your way up to the 100. It's a good way to get in without going all the way.
Yeah, that's always a mistake anyone can make going to the gym, right? You go a little too hard, right? Don't overdo it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe do this. You don't want to be stranded out there in the middle of the desert, but I'm sure no one's getting stranded. And if you don't want to be, how about the half Metric Century? That is a 32-mile, 50-kilometer.
32 miles is exactly the same thing. I have a lot of friends in the business world that are doing this ride. This is also the only ride at El Tour where you can use an e-bike. So the 32-miler is the perfect event to get your feet wet or ride an e-bike. I was just talking to a good friend the other day who said, "Hey, I'm riding El Tour this year." And I said, okay. He goes, "Yeah, I bought an e-bike. I've been riding it all over the place. It's great. I get to see parts of Tucson I've never seen before. I'm going to come out and do the 32-mile event." And he was just beaming, super excited, and I'm excited for him. It's a way to get new people on a bike and get them out there and get involved. And the 32-mile event is perfect for that.
It's a liberating experience, and I can speak from experience because I have an e-bike. I won one from Wayne Brady on Let's Make a Deal. I did just this year. It was the best thing ever. I won 2 of them. So it was really fun because that was the thing when I first moved to Tucson, living off a mountain. I did buy a bike immediately, but it was a challenge. And it wasn't like I didn't run out of breath. It was the fact wow, my legs don't have the strength that they used to anymore. I really have to build these muscles up if I'm going to bike to work, because you can't exhaust yourself and then have to work a whole shift. And then, I got to bike home. Yikes. So that's a real thing where the e-bike really helped me not feel scared. Because some of this, I have a really bad back, sciatica problem. Like it's a physical disability to a degree where I've felt stranded where I took my bike a little too far and I'm like, I got to walk a little while now. With the e-bike, I don't feel scared anymore. And that's kind of huge. And it's taken a lot of the barriers off of where I can bike now in town.
You're absolutely right. And e-bikes are sweeping the cycling industry.
Yeah.
Getting a lot more people on bicycles. And speaking of that, I would want to plug the Bikes for Change program that El Tour de Tucson is doing.
Tell me about it.
We are giving away 3,000 bikes to youth at need.
What?
3,000 bikes this year.
Where was this? I was on the website a while. I didn't see. That should be the first thing. How is that happening?
I agree. Through the generous donation of lots of people here in Tucson, Jim Click Ford, Canyon Ranch, El Tour de Tucson, 3,000 bikes, helmets, and locks. And we've partnered with Davis Mountain and the Boys and Girls Club, and a whole host of volunteers that have built and put these bikes together. And this program started a couple years ago. We started off giving 500 bikes away.
Wow.
Last year we gave 1,500 bikes away. And this year we are giving away 3,000 bikes to our youth of Tucson.
That's incredible. And even as you do talk about, we talk about volunteers building these bikes. Building 3,000 bikes takes a while. You got to put bikes together.
It is no small feat.
No, it's not.
No small feat.
That's incredible.
It just goes to show the community that we have here in Tucson and how much people really care and care about the health of our city and our kids and getting kids on bikes. When a kid gets one of these bikes, they also get a free entry into one of the fun rides. So they get to come down, hopefully with their parents, and get them out on a bike and do one of the rides and experience El Tour at a young age. And that's the best way to introduce them to cycling and to downtown and to El Tour, and hopefully they'll come back for years and years to come.
Well, plus giving a kid a bike, giving anyone a bicycle, actually, it's a vehicle. It is liberating to be able to get your job by having a bicycle, because some people just can't make ends meet, and you don't want financial barriers to be the thing that keeps a kid from being able to learn how to ride a bike.
100%.
Right?
100%. When this program first came up a couple years ago, I was super excited, and I've worked with it in a few different capacities, and we're going to keep it going. It's going to get larger, and we're going to make sure any kid in Tucson that wants a bicycle gets a bicycle.
That is absolutely incredible, and I love it. And that's why I love hosting Lifestyle Tucson, because I talk to people like you who are doing so much work, great organizations that work with other great organizations, that work with other great nonprofits, all doing the same thing, working toward the goals, especially when the goal is helping out children. And that's just incredible. I love when I talk to people like you, because a lot of people don't think that this still exists, and the good news gets a little buried, and that's what Lifestyle Tucson is. It's all about the good news, and El Tour de Tucson is nothing but good news. And it's also nothing but good news specifically because you have beneficiaries and people that you really take care of every year. And this year's primary beneficiary is going to be the Pima JTED. So Pima JTED, if you don't know about them, they make high school work for you. Really, when they're talking to the kids there. We make high school work for you and career and technical education classes that you actually want to take. That's how they put it on their website. That's, I think, incredible. It's a great partner. You can get all the details on what Pima JTED does over at pimajted.org, helping kids get an education in high school. That's phenomenal. You're helping a lot of families, a lot of kids, but also tell me about Pat Lopez, because every year you also have a dedication recipient. What did Pat Lopez do for El Tour de Tucson?
Well, oh my gosh. El Tour de Tucson may not exist in the form that it does today if it were not for Pat Lopez. Pat was the president of the board of directors for, I know I should know this, but somewhere around 20 or 25 years. He's been the guiding light for the organization that, it's no secret, we went through some tough times there for a few years. Pat was the man that pulled us up by our bootstraps, gave us direction, pointed us in the right direction, and then led us in that direction. And when we were talking about the dedication recipient this year, there was no other names even discussed. It was what Pat Lopez has done for El Tour de Tucson and for the city of Tucson is unbelievable. We are lucky to have him. We are so fortunate to have him in our city and to have been involved with this event for so long. It was a natural fit, and we're honored and blessed and excited to honor Pat Lopez as the El Tour dedication recipient this year.
Yeah, I love when the community really lifts up people. Here's in the community, people that are doing things behind the scenes you might not know about. You've told me about some past recipients. Gabby Giffords was one year. You've had some important people involved. So it's really nice to watch you taking care of people that are taking care of our city, more than some realize.
True statement.
Right?
True statement.
Where can people find all the information online for El Tour de Tucson?
alltourdetucson.org. All spelled out. alltourdetucson.org. There are route maps. There are everything you need to know about where to go, what time to go, the schedules, packet pickup, the expo, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday downtown. And most importantly, the routes or the routes or however you want to say it. That's the biggest complaint that I've heard over the years is it shuts down the streets. Well, yes, it does. But be proactive. Go take a look at the route and plan your day accordingly if you have to drive your car.
Absolutely. All those road closures are right there on the website, and they're available over on some of our websites. I'm going to give you all the details in the recap, the times, the places, and all the stuff, because today we made friends with Bobby Verenna, member of the board of directors of El Tour de Tucson, voted the #1 cycling event in the United States just last year. So don't miss it. Thanks for joining me today, Bobby.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
This was Lifestyle Tucson. Bing bong bing, time for a recap. Oh, that was a great conversation. I really love talking about El Tour de Tucson, a pinnacle event here in Tucson. But how exciting was that? Did you hear how much more excited that Bobby got as we kept talking, like just bringing out the energy and the fun? And that's what El Tour de Tucson is all about. So it was really fun because you heard me pop when he talked about them giving away 3,000 bikes, helmets, and locks. Incredible. And the amount of volunteers to put together 3,000 bikes. Think of that. That's community, and that's Tucson, and that's why I love it. So if you want to follow along everything that's going on, and as well as get the entire schedule and all that, just go to alltourdetucson.org. You can follow along some photos and fun things over on Instagram at Tour de Tucson. Give them a like on Facebook to follow along there. If you're going to head out to the event, make sure you get there early and go enjoy it. But if you can't make it, you can listen to the race live. The broadcast starts here on our ESPN sister station, 1490 AM, 94.8 HD4, ESPN Tucson. So the broadcast starts at 6:50 AM, and you can listen to the race from start to finish with Big Al, that's right, the radio legend, as well as the voice of El Tour, Ralph Phillips, owner of Fair Wheels Bikes. So they're going to check in 4 times an hour from the course and provide interviews at the finish line after the race from 11 till noon. So make sure you're listening to ESPN Tucson if you're not checking it all out. Go look for that list of road closures also on the website and keep up because you don't want to get stuck in traffic, and get all the details over at kfma.com for that, or espntucson.com, klpx.com, all the .coms, Mix FM. I'm on all the radio stations. Yeah. So I want to thank our new friends at El Tour de Tucson for joining me today. You've been listening to Lifestyle Tucson. If you're a nonprofit that would like to be on the show, email lifestyletucson@gmail.com. For more information about this program or to listen to something you may have missed, go to the Sunday Mornings page on klpx.com, kfma.com, mixfm.com, or espntucson.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Audible, or wherever fine podcasts are putting baseball cards in their spokes while popping a wheelie. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Lifestyle Tucson, because I'm your BFF, Frank Powers, Toot Toot Tucson. I love you the most.